When you woke up today,
Hmm.
did you think that Microsoft would announce that they are going to give all the streaming rights to ABK to Ubisoft for some sort of fee that we don't know what it is for the entire globe minus the EU?
If you hadn't, I don't want to say interrupted because this is a schedule thing, but if you hadn't called me for this show, I would have been busy regurgitating words that express my anger slash I'm getting tired of this bullshit kind of attitude. But I will tell you the joke that I told Laurent this morning, which is I've referred to this process with the CMA as regulatory theater, but I guess I forgot how much the British love the theater because they just want it to keep going. And I mean, I've made this argument so many times, I'm kind of losing it because it's just so illogical and obvious. But this market for streaming video games is not a market, and it will never be a market. It will never be a major component of video games in our lifetimes. It just won't. There's just physical realities to these things. It just can't happen. And by the way, if it does happen, it will be more than 10 or 15 years in the future, which means all of this nonsense shuffling of decks and so forth is and will be completely frickin' pointless. I don't understand the concern at all. I'm going to read more today. I haven't had time to go through the whole thing, but Microsoft has finally offered the material changes that the UK wanted. They do nothing to change anything, which is perfect, right? Because this concern is nonsensical, and the concession is nonsensical as a result. It's not going to hurt Microsoft in the slightest. It's ridiculous.
You know what it does do, though?
No,
it really really reinforces the confidence that Microsoft is committed whole cloth to Xbox cloud gaming, and that is the future, and that is the only thing that is.
There were words and then there were actions, right? That's the thing. And it's easy to say, if there's a burning house, I'm going to run in and rescue the child or the dog or whatever's in there. And then the reality is people freeze and they don't do anything and whatever, and so we'll see. But the thing about this case is you can say things and you can make promises that are legally binding, but you can also do things. And this has been the unusual bit about this, where Microsoft has engaged in a crazy series of deals to bring cloud gaming or Call of Duty or whatever anyone's concerned about to wherever they want it, all the while explaining we don't really need to do this because our goal is to make those games available in as many places as possible. Mm-hmm. But we are doing those things. And so I love that, there is that. So I'm curious. I am curious about how this impacts the United States, honestly. And that's the part I got to go look up. But the thing I read in Brad Smith's kind of announcement host in the little bit of time I had was that this does not impact the EU.
Correct.
Because the EU has already agreed to the terms that we had, which is just, I don't know.
I think the real winner of this is Ubisoft. While we don't know how much they're paying, and to Ubisoft, if there is a cloud market, even if it's just, let's just say they can make $20 million a year in net income on it. To Ubisoft, that's probably a big deal.
What's the offering? What is their thing? What's Ubisoft's offering? What do they have? No. I mean, what's their service? Like that?
Oh, it's like Ubisoft Plus or whatever.
Or something. Yeah. So then that involves a streaming component.
Yeah.
Does it? I mean, I think it
does.
Nobody knows.
I guess. Well, it will. Let's put it that way.
Ubisoft Plus is the Paramount Plus of gaming. Okay. Yeah, we know it exists, but nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. So the important thing is it does not impact anything to do with Game Pass, which is what Microsoft wants. That's what they want for this. So the downside, if you will, is that there's no way. This is probably closing October 18th. Like, it'll close in October, probably at the earliest now.
I brought a laptop on a freaking hot air balloon in July, positive that this was going to finalize that weekend. October?
Wrong again, Thurrott.
I know. No, you think I would just get used to it by now, but really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I seriously, is there anything that moves more slowly than regulatory processes? And is there anything less effective in the long term? the solution to yesterday's problem. It's like the TSA model, like we've solved the problem that no longer exists. Great.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. Pointless. You are just pointless. Not you, Brad.
I think it does guarantee that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 will no longer be in Game Pass, because if it closes on the 18th, they would have, 3 weeks to figure that out? Good luck.
I felt like that wasn't going to happen anyway.
It probably wasn't, but it really gives them an easy out.
I find Modern Warfare 3 to be curious, and it feels like they're acting like it's just business as usual over there, and we were going to, and it's like I kind of saw this as the last hurrah of the pre-Microsoft Activision Blizzard, and the last chance to get that $1 billion in 2 or 3 days, or whatever the heck the figure is, that they get every year from whatever new Call of Duty release, and that things might be a little different going forward. And we talked about the decline of this franchise, and inevitable perhaps, right? Things change. I mean, my God, they had a huge run. It's like the Patriots. I mean, what are you going to do? It's great for a long time, but you can't. It's going to be forever.
Fantastic. As Microsoft closes this on the 18th, Modern Warfare 3 launches. Let's just say it does $3 billion or whatever in a day. Mm-hmm. Microsoft's going to come out patting themselves on the back, like, we did it. All this hard work we put into building this game paid off. It's like, you guys.
How much did you spend in lawyers' fees? $5 billion.
Yeah.
I don't. This whole thing is insane. It's insane. I gotta try to be, measured about it, as one should be. But I will say, the one thing the little bit I've written so far, I was kind of I did make the point at the time, and let me go back and find just look this up. End of July. What is it even a month ago? Does it feel like a million years ago?
Yeah, it does.
The striking thing about Microsoft's, we can't call it a list of concessions because there weren't any. This list of material changes that had occurred since the CMA ruled against the acquisition included no concessions. They didn't even make a single concession, and I called that out at the time. I was like, it's a little ballsy, I throw them a bone, right? And maybe we could argue, look, these legal things, it's like a game of poker, I guess. And at the time, I felt like there was fatigue on everyone's part. I really believed that the CMA saw the losing nature of their argument, and that they were having a mulligan, essentially, right? To use language you will appreciate.
Thank you.
A do-over. Yeah, you're welcome. Mm-hmm. And that they could appear over some period of weeks to be like, given this new evidence, it's not new, it's not evidence, whatever. We've done what we've done. Now it makes sense. And they could have saved face. And I really thought that's what was happening. But they literally looked at this again. They were like, no, we still have the same concerns. What the frick is wrong with you people? Are you kidding me? God, it's like dealing with a child. It's like, you want a cookie? No, yeah, I want a cookie. Then it breaks and they cry and they won't eat the cookie. And you're like, you wanted a cookie. You want a cookie? I don't want a cookie now. And it's like, what are we talking about? It's a cookie. Take the cookie. And that's the CMA, the child with a broken cookie. Maybe that's the picture I'll use for my.
Well, at least, whatever. I would say we have an end date, but then there'll be something dumb that happens. But, yeah.
I love that you have any light at all at the end of this cloud. I like that you are like that positive of a human being, whereas I'm like just crashing. Like, are you kidding me? This is like my give up moment. I don't understand, by the way, why they don't say, you know what? F you. We're done. We're done dealing with you. You're stupid. You're stupid. I'll tell you what, we just won't sell the games there. And then you could explain to your citizens why you made the decision you made. And please explain exactly how Ubisoft is a UK-based streaming giant that you're protecting from this horrible competitor. Please. I'm sure the citizens of the United Kingdom would love to hear about that, about how this benefits them in some small way. Meanwhile, the millions of people that use Xbox are going to be like, what just happened? Mm-hmm. What did you just do to us for no reason? Stupid. Just stupid.
Well.
Yep. That's where I'm at. And we'll see. I might change my mind. I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's got to go back through the process. It's got to go through tribunal. It's got whatever.
Sure it does. Everyone dress up like a shaman. Paint your bodies. We're gonna have feathers, and it'll be some dancing. It'll be fun. There'll be a campfire.
In other exciting news, ARM has filed to go public on the NASDAQ.
Yeah. Well, it's a big deal. I mean,
it is.
SoftBank. I'm rolling easily here with the numbers. I'm making these up, but 36 billion, I want to say, bought them. Tried to sell them to Nvidia 40-ish billion, if I'm not mistaken. A couple of years ago, that fell through because of regulatory concerns, right? ARM is a tough one because no one wants to see it, anywhere else, right? So IPO, it becomes a semi-independent company, although SoftBank will still have some kind of controlling interest in it, including voting majority, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But they'll sell some number of shares. So
they'll sell a whole bunch of shares because anybody who cares about this stuff is going to be buying a big swath of it. I think Nvidia already said they're going to buy some. I'm sure Microsoft will. I'm sure Apple will. I'm sure Qualcomm will.
Maybe this is a great outcome then, right? Because all of the interested parties will own some part of this company that's so crucial to their infrastructure. And not so much Microsoft, honestly, but whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, Microsoft will definitely buy in.
No, I'm just saying I don't think they're as crucial to Microsoft, but
correct,
yes, that's fine. But yeah, ARM is, a lot of people don't know about ARM, but I mean, ARM is that little crux at the heart of the whole system. I mean, they don't actually build anything per se. They come up with reference designs essentially, but everyone uses it, including Apple, right? So literally 100% of mobile devices sold in the world, basically. I mean, there's some tiny sub 1%, but a big chunk of the data center, and that's only going to grow.
Yeah.
Huge. So this could be the biggest IPO of the year. This has been a down year for IPOs. I think there's been IPOs that were coming and just they gave up.
It very well. I would be shocked if it wouldn't be the biggest, just because knowing those big players. AMD is going to buy in, I'm sure. Because if Nvidia is buying in, then AMD is probably going to want to buy in.
Yep.
And you've just got that kind of cascading effect of these giants with huge pocketbooks just buying a big swath of stock.
Right. Yeah, it should be huge. So that's good. It's good for everybody. I mean, it's maybe this is the right outcome.
This is one of those times I agree with you that maybe going public truly is just because their interest is so diverse among the tech industry that it makes sense.
Yeah. I think I would have made and maybe did make the argument at the time when NVIDIA was looking at buying them. Obviously, one of the concerns is we don't want one of the major players in the chip space to own this crucial technology. And I sort of, it's the argument I make with Microsoft, which is, guys, that there's a concession-based solution to this problem, which is like perpetual license, blah, 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 whatever, to all the major parties. Like you could get around that. But now that fell apart and they're doing what they're doing, and you're, talking about all these companies are able to buy in and kind of prove how much this is really worth to them, essentially. Actually, yeah, maybe this is the best outcome. I don't think I would have said this 2 years ago, I guess, just not knowing. But yeah, I mean, retrospectively or retroactively, I guess it makes sense. Unlike this podcast, am I right? That was me high-fiving you, by the way. You can't see it.